Most of you know Alexis. She's part of the incredible Boise crew that won the last BetonRed contest. I know that you've seen her and the team there, and what a phenomenal job that they do on a regular basis. I have the opportunity, to coach that market center, and they're bringing in 30, 35 people a month, month after month after month. So thank you so much for agreeing to share some of the tips, secrets, challenges, anything that you want to, with your cyber recruiter and how all that's worked well. With that, Alexis, why don't you just maybe share, your experience, your journey with all of that, because you were one of the first early adopters, to pick up a cyber recruiter over a year ago. So I'll just pass it to you, and maybe just share, and the group can ask you some questions and all of that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Happy to do so and happy to be here. Hello, everybody. We've had our cyber recruiter for a little over a year now, and so far so good. And I'll definitely give you guys some tips and tricks and how we meet with them, etc. Just, Rich did a really good job at talking a little bit about the market center. We gross anywhere from 30 to 35 agents a month. On average, if you take out the numbers since I've been here for recruiting, we average 3 cappers a month. And we definitely attribute a lot of our success to Cyber Recruiter and the appointment setting that they help us do here and alleviate for sure. I'm the main recruiter here in the office. Casey is the RD over in the LA coastal region. And now we have an additional ATL, of which actually Rich coaches, who also happens to be my husband. And his focus is really on more of the new agents, where mine is a little bit more on the market share. We work collectively on any kind of overflow. And then we actually just brought on an additional ATL. Keep in mind, we are a market center of just shy of 800 agents. So we're definitely growing rapidly, have been over the last couple years. And so that's how we're also helping in terms of retention as well. Naturally, we've had to bring on more staff. And so the new ATL's name is Tyrinda, and she will be helping alongside of myself recruit some market share as well. And so she actually today is her first day. So that's a little bit about us. I really don't, to be honest, that's just so you're aware. I talk with TLs all over the country, and quite frankly, it doesn't matter if you have an agent pool of 14,000, R2s, outside agent pool, or 200. I think Rich would probably agree with me that it's all about, what you do, how often you do it, time on task, and just pushing through. And obviously, like I've said, I'm here to answer any questions about what we do, how we do it, and of course, how CyberRecruiter has contributed to that success. I will tell you guys just right off the bat before I just want to give this half an hour to you guys as well to ask questions. We won the national recruiting competition by recruiting 25 R2s in that 4-month period. Right now, we just signed on our 5th for this R2 competition, and I've got about 6 in the pipeline he'll be signing on in June as well. With that, for the first R2 competition, Christian, our cyberbacker, we went and looked back, obviously always taking a look at, hey, where are we spending money? Is it valuable, right? Off the cuff, we know our cyber recruiter is valuable, and yet we as a market center work diligently on making sure, every dollar that's spent is valuable. And so we dug even a little deeper after the R2 national competition, and of those 25, he set 4 of those capper appointments that joined. So that's really great, you guys, because really at the end of the day, that's 1 a month, because we're talking about a 4-month period. I have used 4 different companies over the course of being here. And CyberRecruiter by far, and Rich isn't paying me to say this, by the way, CyberRecruiter by far is our longest partnership and the most advantageous win-win for both parties. I have had to sadly let go of a lot of other ISA companies that cost us a lot of money and a lot of time that literally brought almost nothing to the table after 90, 120 plus days. So if you guys set these cyber recruiters up for success, Rich and his team of coaches are going to make sure that they have the Keller scripts, that they are Kellerized. It's a very unique ISA process where a lot of other companies, you've got to do all that legwork yourself.
Have you looked at or tracked how many of your overall hires that he's been involved in with the time that he's been with you?
You know, that's a really good question. I'm going to say, I'm going to make an educated guess here and probably say about 12. And I think he's been with us for 13 months. So I think I am probably safe to say it. He averages about one a month and helping us. Now, obviously, in the beginning, it wasn't as, you know, lucrative, if you will. And yet I worked really hard with him as well on a weekly basis. He always sends accountability. I mean, the way that Cyber Recruiter has it set up is that they should be sending you, you know, the email wrap-ups daily, you know, where they need improvement. What I realized is when I started pouring a little bit more time into him one-on-one weekly, that's where we really started to see the shift take place. Working through some of the scripts, because what might work in my market might not work in yours, and so on and so forth. So, you know, Rich and them do a really good job at giving them scripts. And then I say, okay, what scripts are you using? What does it look like? Okay, I know in my market now after 3 years, this isn't going to sit well or sit right. Let's tweak this or add this, etc. And I worked with him one-on-one, and I held him and still continue even with his success, a daily accountability.
Yeah. So he's averaging like one R2 hire a month in the process since he's been with you, and then I'm assuming there's 30, 40 appointments, and you know, other residual hires and that, unless you're only having to focus on R2s, because I know you guys do a lot of recruiting with other level producers also.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's definitely responsible. And I can get you those numbers, Rich. I think, well, at this point, it'd be interested for me to know. I knew about 6 months ago, and then we did it specifically for the competition for the first one. But I would be interested myself in probably rerunning those numbers. Yeah, he's definitely responsible for additional R1s and new agents as well. So in the beginning, it was up to 5 million. I felt really comfortable with him pretty early on in the first like 60 to 90 days. We went up to about 5 or 6 million. He has set two $25+ million producers on my calendar within the last 2 weeks. I want to say about 2 weeks. I have my calendar over here. So yeah, so now a year in, I'm fully, and even probably 6 to 8 months in, I was more comfortable with him calling anybody. I've never had anybody call and say, hey, listen, who is this person? I'm uncomfortable, or stop calling. And so also I do believe that part of it was we did get lucky with a really great lead generator, ISA. And it's that part of getting them acclimated and working with them directly one-on-one when you get the time to on a weekly basis to really get them invested. But I think you should at least give them the opportunity to start calling between 2 to 5 million in production about 60 to 90 days in.
Alexis, what's your conversion? Let's talk about conversion real quick. We've talked a lot about appointments, shows, and systems around that. Mm-hmm. You guys obviously do a phenomenal job at conversion if you're recruiting 30 to 35 people a month. So can you tell us what the system is around that? Because that's where I think there's a huge opportunity for all of us is conversion.
Yeah, conversion in the sense of making the appointment and following up, or in the sense of actually the needs analysis and closing?
I mean, you tell me. We have a lot of people, including people on the line, that are getting a lot of appointments, but their gross isn't, you know, near what yours is.
This is what I talk to most TLs about, you guys. It's number one, getting really comfortable with a rejection. I tell people really straightforward, if you're struggling with rejection in this role might not be for you, because we get so much of it. And as long as you are okay with rejection and okay with failing forward, like Gary always says, like, you can be successful in this role. To get more specific on conversion, my thing is anyone can set the appointment. It's your job to close. And so number one, how confident are you in our as a nation's value proposition, and you on a local's level of value proposition? How comfortable are you expressing that, and how eloquently are you expressing that to somebody? The other part of that is how comfortable and confident are you with your needs analysis? That is so, so critical. When I first started coaching with Rich, when I first came on about 3 years ago, Rich gave me one and I loved it. And over the course of 2 years, I picked it apart and realized, okay, this is the bulk of the questions I need to ask. These are some I or removed. These are some I brought in. And now I've created my perfect needs analysis, which may work well for you, it may not, but practicing, and getting confident in that value proposition and those questions. And then number 3, once you have found the gap, how comfortable are you with closing, and how comfortable are you with objection handlers? So it's really, again, appointment set aside, how comfortable and confident are you with your value proposition locally and on a national level? How comfortable and confident are you in the needs analysis? And number 3, how comfortable and confident are you with your objection handlers and your closing scripts? And I would have you guys each, like if we were coaching, for instance, I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, all of you should be rating yourself on those 3 and figuring out where you need to close your own gap to maybe have a better conversion.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Thank you everybody for your time as well and being here. And if you need anything, let us know.
Awesome. Thank you guys for having me. Take care.